I'm very excited about this. I'm packing, I have been picking, I have so much fresh stuff. I can't wait to get there. And it is 2 shows this year because Laura Caldwell of Left Coast Revivals is doing the outdoor flea to go along with the Rose City Vintage Market inside where I'll be. It should be so much fun. It's so great to see a big show forming there again. Now, let me show you how much fun it was last year. This is where all the action is. I am sitting at a really cool rattan bar at the Wayward Goods exhibit, and I'm here at the Rose City Vintage Market. I'm excited to get to show you some of this. This is the second and final day. I had a great show. I did what I hope to do for the entire show in just one day, so that means I get a chance to go around and film. They even do delivery, which might be useful for this really cool rattan bar set with the 2 stools priced at $800. I used to have a set like this, and I have to admit I miss it. It was really fun. I love this stuff. This is Schaffer and Vater, made in the 19-teens. It's bisque porcelain, made in Germany, and then painted. They were typically very much whimsy-oriented. You see exaggerated features, giant feet, and oftentimes cute little sayings. His country seat, a very fine view from the back of the women with their skirts blowing up. My. Guess what I am? Oh, I'm afraid you're about to show us. And these great bookends, which also have a place to put matches. That's very unusual. Look at those interesting spindly legs. These are really cool. Now, this little guy is one that you see more often, and the smoker with the sort of scowling face on the left. Really, really fun. And these are priced anywhere from, gosh, it seems like $75 on up to the several hundreds for some of the rarer ones. And Mary gets really cool stuff. My friend Mary Barbara, I haven't seen her carry a lot of advertising and signs before, so I thought this was kind of neat. And of course, there's Portland, because here we are. But she also has really, really great pinups and a ton of really good Bakelite. She is at Midtown Mod in Oregon. There's a lot of good modernist and vintage shops here, and just look at these great Bakelite pieces. She's got the little sets of poker chips with the Bakelite poker chips in them. All these carved and spotted bangles, and some of them have really great deep carving and design like this. They're just amazing. It's really fun stuff, and there are definitely a lot of people getting into Bakelite again because of the vibrant colors. You can see all of these great earrings, and then she's even got things like figural napkin rings, all these horse pins. I've never seen the knights before. That's unusual. The giraffe. So really fun stuff. And she also carries a lot of mottos. These were very popular in the 1920s and 30s. Somebody cares. Sometimes they would print poetry like Rudyard Kipling. Sometimes they were dedicated to mothers or fathers, or for girls. And if you want to shop Mary when she's not at the show, she has this shop now, Midtown Mod in Portland and Southeast on Milwaukee Avenue. And this gal primarily does vintage fashion and millinery. She's got really pretty things. She is also in the shop with Mary. She has a bunch of glass and things too, but she's wholesaling that because she really does specialize in things like this wonderful poodle coat here. Look at that. Isn't that neat? I also have a wonderful dealer across from me with a lot of vintage fashion that I would like to show as well. The coat here is Chimayo, and you can see the patterning on that. Deja Vintage is her name, and she's also a Portland dealer. And you know, the Portland vintage folks all seem to know each other. This is cool because it's Hudson's Bay, but this was not made up later out of a blanket. This was made as a coat. It's priced at $250. It's the clip buckles seem like something from the 1970s to me. She really has some wonderful things. I love this little crop jacket, $150. That is so Western from the 50s. You could see one of those country music stars of the day wearing it. This red dress with the apron is very cute. This looks like something from the 1940s. Great color. $40. I mean, there's a lot of things that are very wearable here. It's not all stuff that you just look at, although these gauzy 1930s silk dresses, they might be more for show, but they are beautiful. And especially look at this antique dress in this beautiful color with that bodice. It's just amazing. It almost looks like a cape the way it's sewn. And that one is priced $100. Really, really neat stuff. She's also got some really neat beaded purses. Look at the patterning on this one. Hi, my friend. Vintage sunglasses. Look at these great yellow ones, made in Italy. That's what you're really looking for, and they're only $26. That is such a great look. I've got to see if they're not too, if my big head won't break them. I'm going to try them. Okay, I can get them on about like that. Okay, let's see. Ciao, darling. So here's the one with the really great silk dresses and these great glasses. This is Deja Vintage, and you can find her online right there. My neighbor behind me was very sweet and let me put my double peacock chenille up as a backdrop in her space because it added some color, which was very nice of her. She does have some really fun things. I have a Poirot vase from the 80s by Sigma the Taste Setter, and she has the little dresser jar. This is definitely an area that's starting to be collectible. If you're looking for 80s stuff, these Poirot figures, they're saleable. I think this is about a $45 item. She did pretty well yesterday. I think her prices were really good. She's got Empoli glass. She's got these neat chalet pieces like the cranberry here. She and I definitely have similarities in terms of our tastes in terms of mid-century glass and ceramics. I like this piece here. It's Italian, $45. And the label is from Stars, which is a big antique mall here in Portland. It's been around for a long time. And this is one of our new dealers. Yes, it is, aren't you? Hello. Hi there. Oh, I want petted. Yes, there we go. Now we've got everything going right. Your master is away, but the master has wonderful things in his showcase. He's been a dealer for a long time, and he gets really great stuff. He's got municipal railroad badges and sheriff's badges, the little miniature harmonica in the blue case all the way up to the larger size. Kershaw, I think Kershaw and I know Gerber were made here in Portland, so there's a lot of specific interest in those knife companies. I didn't get to show much of their space the last time I did this show, but these dealers have some really incredible stuff. This piece is hand painted, it's 19th century, so it's dynastic era Chinese. These are red mercury glass, and they're done in the Bohemian stag overlay. It is really an unusual thing to see pairs of red mercury glass, or actually red mercury glass in general. These pieces here are worth looking for. These are Bimini Werkstatt. They almost feel like plastic when you touch them. The glass is so very thin. This was actually done before the Second World War, even though it has a real modernist vibe to it. And these little pieces can be rather valuable. I was fortunate to find one at the Springfield Antique Show for $12, and it should sell for about $50. Definitely an area worth looking for. Look for this very thin, rounded foot where the glass pulls up in the center, so there's like a hole at the bottom, and that will be what you're looking for. This clock is very famous. This is the Le Coulter Atmos clock. They are very valuable. This one is priced at $1,600. That is a typical price for these. They're such high quality. Look at the movement and how smooth it is. There's bride's baskets, and then there's bride's baskets. If you were a really wealthy bride, you might have something like this by Dixon and Sons, and it is beautiful. The glass is completely shaped and formed to fit the base. The base is silver plate. It has all sorts of design in it. This is high style Victorian. We have the lion sitting at the base on the one side, and another lion facing the opposite way on the other side, because this was meant to be in the middle of the table and to be the big fancy display. Isn't it gorgeous? Priced at $14.95. This fellow has always had good stuff too. He gets everything from advertising to pop culture, and it's fun, it's colorful, and you know, at a vintage meet, a lot of people who come, they are coming because they're into vintage things like Disney. and Snoopy. You know, a lot of the collecting right now is focused on characters and toys and things from the mid-20th century. Now we're going to step into Kitschy Karen's vintage. There's a lot of vintage clothing here, and there's some really neat pieces here. And this blue dress with the silver, it's almost sequin-like trim down here is very, very pretty. And it's nice that she's got the measurements, because with vintage, you know, that makes a big deal, whether you can fit in it or not. This is, it says it's rayon and, of course, sequined, and it's an evening gown with the original belt. They've got it priced at $175. It would be hard to find nice formal wear in such good condition. A lot of furs. This is where the controversy comes in. Portland, in particular, was a place that 20 years ago you didn't dare wear a fur, but a lot were made here in the old days. Here's a Hamilton fur with a Portland label, and this is priced at only $80. And see, this is the thing: is old fur, because it went out of style, is now so inexpensive that you can get beautiful old vintage pieces instead of buying new. I'm not a fan of the new fur industry at all, but the old stuff already exists. So I always encourage people, if you're into fur, an antique show is a good place to get it. Look at these really cute shoes. Nordstrom sometimes comes to this show and looks for old shoes for their museum. These are cute too, the Koala Craft with these clear. Now, these might not have felt so good on the feet, but they looked good, and that's all that mattered. $95 on those. And these are really cute, too. The Paris fashion shoes with Arch Modé. Those would have been a 1930s style with that thick heel and not too high. These are a little more shapely and a little bit later, probably 1940s, with the little open toe, though. That was very popular at that time. And these are brown suede, and they have 75 on those. Another cute open-toed set here. These are Vitality shoes with the narrow heel. Now this dealer is offering some real bargains. $4.50 for the Evesham by Royal Worcester, and this is the jam or mustard jar. That's actually a great deal. Somebody could buy that and put it on eBay today and probably get $18 or $20 for it. So don't think that every antique show, especially when there's a lot of high-end stuff, is going to be very expensive and you won't be able to afford it. It's worth coming and seeing, because you might be pleasantly surprised. Some dealers are aging and they're looking to sell things because they are ready to get out of the business. Only $15 on this tray here, which appears to be I think that's a Haviland label. I see, yes, Haviland Limoges. The nice painted butterfly and the transfer of the flowers on the outside. I'm going to come back around and show you the front with this pink well. I mean, $15 on that. This green wreath pattern was made by Minton, a very, very, very good English china company, for Tiffany's, and so it's going to have the Minton back stamp and also say Tiffany and Company. These are really, again, quite inexpensive for what they are, only $14 each for the dinner plates. Royal Copenhagen figures and some Bing & Grondel as well. They're taking 20% off of these prices, which is pretty good, because the little boy sitting on is that a zucchini? Some sort of a squash is $44 and then 20% off. So prices are good on these. I find that a lot of the ones with the farm animals still sell well. This is a wonderful price on this piece. This is the Andrew Wyeth Royal Dalton Bowl. I got $200 for mine. They sell for that typically. This dealer only has $50 on this. So again, it is worth coming to antique shows. I'm going to come back and do some shopping, I can tell right now. One nice thing about going to antique shows is you can find out about other events. So everything from Girlfriend's Vintage Market to the Portland Coin Show. There's Collector Network, East Lebanon Vintage for the Palm Springs Vintage Market. So this is a place to come just to find out about what else is going on in the antique industry. She's setting up a really beautiful set of Italian glasses here. Look at the great color in those. And it looks to me like they are priced in the...
They would be, dealer price would be about $12 a piece.
Wow, they're beautiful.
Thank
I'm going to have to come back and shop after I film. There are definitely buyable things here. I think it's not just for collectors. Resellers can come to these shows and do well too. And to tell you the truth, as great as this show is, it could use more resellers. This place could probably accommodate another 50% more dealers. So if you are a dealer in the Portland area and you have not done an antique show, I would seriously suggest you contact Rose City Vintage, because they bring a crowd, they advertise well. I mean, I've had a great show, and I think a lot of people are doing very well here, and there's definitely room for more. Coverlets are something that we usually don't see so much on the West Coast, so it's neat to see these, especially with the floral designs and the geometrics. These were, you notice they're done in strips. It was done with a jacquard weaving loom. It was invented in France in the early 19th century, and you see these made through about the 1880s. This dealer is from Coburg, Oregon. They're in the Coburg Antique Mall, which is near Eugene, and that's a great place to shop, actually. And they have these really cool appliques. These are from about the 1910s. The colors are really bright. You see there's machine stitching on these long seams, but all of this is done by hand. Look at how it's not completely uniform, and that definitely makes a difference. These are priced in the $300 to $500 range, because if they have good color and they're large and they're that old, then there is a different level of interest in them. This fellow here does this show as well as the big garage sale they have in Vancouver. Here is a Pepsi-Cola cooler, much harder to find than Coca-Cola, pretty good shape, priced at $325, and the squirt is priced at $225. The ones that are not Coca-Cola are definitely scarcer and typically sell for more money. Here's a neat barber chair from about 1890. Asking $500. What a great design with the tacked leather in the back and the adjustable headrest. 1880s or maybe around 1890, somewhere in there. And there's also a barber pole for $240. Figural perfume bottles are another really fun figural category to collect. They don't come up all that often, but they were made of glass and they were made of ceramic. And there were a lot done as half dolls, or they have the glass stoppers inside. A great variety of things to collect, not very large. You won't find a lot. A lot of these are in collections now, but it is a fun thing to look for, and prices are pretty good. They sell for, gosh, 50 to 100 and up, especially these crown tops you see, made in Germany about 1910. This is a fun group of character figures, 1920s and 30s cartoon characters done in little figurine form. Mutt and Jeff were done in Germany, and they're very highly detailed. Orphan Annie and her dog Sandy, Moon Mullins and K.O. Moon was short for Moon Sign because it started during Prohibition. Here's the Our Gang characters. That's a very hard group to get. That's the original 5 from about 1930. Isn't this a beauty? Nymphs and Maidens. This is a gorgeous lithograph print. These folks do not sell any reproductions. Everything you're going to see in this booth is original. A lot of it's advertising, but they get anything in the realm of old prints. A lot of these are in their original frames. Sometimes they'll actually frame them and mat them and make sure it's all acid free. This is a famous piece. I've had this once or twice. It's called A Misunderstanding, and the poor kitty cat seems to be the subject of the misunderstanding. The dogs are not very, very happy with the cat. It is a dry point etching that was printed in Paris, and Boris O. Klein, who was Russian-born but lived in France and did this work called The Dirty Dogs of Paris. It was a series of comic dog illustrations around 1930, and this is one of his, priced at $295. This is very typical of Victorian cat lithographs, based on some very famous French paintings of the time. This is priced at $285. I'm going to try to get to the other part of the hall, because once we get open, I may not get to show you much else. These folks have an interesting pattern we don't see very much. It's Roseville's Ming tree, and This one is $89. This basket is $189. You do not see this pattern very often. It's late in their production. It's got the gloss glazes. There's the mark on the bottom.
It was really nice.
These are Weller Nile with the variegated glaze. They're really pretty too. And then we are in typewriter land, and wow, do they have a great selection of typewriters here. This is an outfit called Typeface. I'll show you their card in a minute here. But what's great is that, you know, they show all these different ones, like the Futura with the 3 different colors. That's a very unusual color scheme, and that's why that's $500. It's got italics too, so that was pretty deluxe for back then. This is the outfit. It's here in Portland, Oregon, and they do typewriter sales and service. So that is definitely a useful thing because typewriters are in, people really like them, and these are cool. We'll fix that. Somebody got a little carried away there. Beautiful green. That's a 1929 Remington portable when portables were a new idea, and the green is a hard color to find. That's priced at $325. Smith Corona. I love the green keys on these, and this one is a silent. It's the first year of the silent, meaning that it didn't do the clacking as loudly, and I think they changed the platen, which is the roll here, so that it would absorb some of the sound more, and that was a nice improvement, especially in the steno pool like my mother worked in the 50s, where it was a bunch of stenographers in one room. It would have been very noisy. This one's awesome because it's nickel plated, a Remington Deluxe 5. I've never seen a nickel plated typewriter before. So they have some really unusual things that you don't see very often, and it's so fun to be able to show a variety of something, a specialty like this, and see it all in one place. That's part of the reason I really encourage people to come to antique shows, because you're going to see things that you might not know, like this old Columbia bar lock from the 1890s approximately. Very unusual piece. I've never seen one before. I haven't seen a world typewriter like this in many years. This is a World Index 2 from the 1890s, $900, very scarce. They've got advertising for typewriters. And look, the patent schematics, that's fun. It's inspiring and will also give you some ideas of what the really expensive and valuable things are, so that when you're seeing things out in the wild, you have a way to evaluate them compared to what you're seeing at shows. We don't get to show a lot of the estate jewelry up close because people are worried about counterfeiting, but they do have a lot of beautiful estate jewelry at this show. Gold River is the name of this company, and I can see turquoise pieces and Navajo pieces, but they also have Tiffany. Really pretty stuff, but you'll just have to zoom in up close because, in deference to the dealers, I don't videotape these things too tightly. This space is Ormalulu Vintage Works. This is a dealer I've known a really long time, and she's really good at putting together things. She's been around this part of the business back when it was called Shabby Chic, before it was Farmhouse. She really knows how to put it together, and she really uses vintage stuff. You can do Shabby Chic, you can do Farmhouse, you can do this stuff, and you can do it with true antiques and vintage, and it's way more imaginative than spray painting a piece of furniture white and scraping it 3 times. Oh, somebody made a big purchase. A lot of times you're kind of left with the, okay, this is a cool piece, but how do I work it into a display? Well, when you see how people who do this sort of display work integrate things, it's definitely inspirational. The basket is really cool. This is a Barbola wedding basket from Victorian era. And look at the condition. That's the other thing. If you're going to do this sort of thing, it is worth paying attention to condition. You might want things to look a little rough and used, but if you're getting basketry and stuff, you would like it to be solid and functional. These are Metlocks. This is the Zinnia pattern from the 1960s. Hit thumbs up if you like this video. Please check out our membership information. Hit the join button below or in the description, and you will find information about memberships, and you can find out about appraisals by going to theantiquenomad.com. So I have my booth open now, and I'm going to show you that. I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. Definitely had a great first day here and sold a lot of stuff, but we still have plenty to sell today. The Picasso print is something I haven't had out before. This was done in 1961. It was an exhibition done in UCLA. And so Picasso did this piece specifically for it. These usually sell for $600. The mask is Congolese, and it is definitely an older one. It's got great carving and interesting detailing. One thing to look for to see if one's been used, which this does not have, are breath marks, because if they used it in ceremony, they would have breathed heavily in it, and you would actually see where the nose was some sort of difference in patina. So that's an interesting thing to know if you're looking at old masks, to determine whether they were used in ceremony or if they were just made for the tourist trade. This telescope is Second World War. They are quite scarce in this size. It's on the surveyor's transom. You can see the giant lenses here. It's Kuhn optical, and you can see that it is the 50 by 100 prototype. It's had servicing, it all works perfectly. These can sell for as much as $6,500, but this is from an estate we need to close out, so we would probably wholesale this to a dealer if someone came along and understood and had interest. A lot of people looked through it yesterday and had a good time with it. This curious, whimsical frog figure, I just had to buy. Lawrenceburg, Indiana, actually, at the show. He's got such a fun look. I've got a bunch of Sasha Brastoff, in fact, quite a bit more than you see here. But I have several of the trays. Such fun designs. You see the Sasha B mark on this one, and this one also has the back stamp. I will be putting a lot of pieces at Epic Antique in Seattle. It's seemed to do pretty well. I think Sasha is being understood again by the modernists, and I have a really unusual set of his as well. And that is the elephants. You do not see the figurals very often at all. And this is the full set with the compote. So it was done as a console set to set on a sideboard. You've got two elephants and this little fountain in between. There's the Sasha B mark on the back of those. This silver glaze was not easy to achieve. It was a pretty new concept in the 1950s, but he was way ahead of his time and he managed it. It's a great set, probably worth about $300. None have actually come up at auction recently. This piece is Seguso, also a very nice piece of glass with a signature. I'll try turning it over where maybe you can read it a little better. Now, I am sharing my booth with my helper. She's been here the last few times and helped me, and this time I asked her to bring some things. And she brought some pretty cool stuff too, including, she sold one set yesterday, but there's this lovely set of service plates. And these have a Limoges stamp right there that you'll see. She sold the other stack yesterday, I think, for $45 a piece. These are Port Marion, and Port Marion was big in the late 80s and early 90s, and it's definitely collectible again now. Botanic Garden is the line. The Girl with the Hibiscus by Marwall. This is a fish knife set. These were very popular presentation pieces, usually made in England. Sterling handles. This will date to sometime in the 1910s when they were very popular. Almost sold the Fallout Shelter sign already this morning. This is an original one. You'll feel texture between the black and the yellow paint. That's one good clue. They were not actually supposed to ever be reproduced anyway. It says so right on there. Department of Defense said so. This one's an original. It could be Kralik from Czechoslovakia or Bohemia actually back then, because this is likely to be 1890s. It could also be Palma König. We haven't quite decided. The handle is really interesting. It's definitely not Lutz and it's not Mosier, but it's got that iridescence because it's very early carnival glass, and then this wonderful enameled pattern. That should be worth about $300. This wonderful bust of the woman I got in New York, and she is wearing a very fancy hat, which is by Elsa Schiaparelli. So this is a great name, and you want to make sure that it's got that I, Schiaparelli. If it's missing the I, it's a reproduction, and there are such things. Ooh, that fell down, but we have that Fun Church record. I just got this, and it's sort of falling out of its package, but that's good in a way because you can see how the stock cars are in perfect shape, and that's so important with these. If the box is in good shape and the stock cars are in good shape, you know, that might be a $150 item. Now, these are really fun. They're retro. They're not the original Holt Howard. They're actually done by the Grant Howard Associates. And this was done, some point about 25 years ago because people couldn't find the Pixie ware. So they did these as a nostalgia line. I think this thing's really cool. It is Royal China. It is the Africa line. I'd never seen this line before. I just think it's really interesting with the carved wooden finial. And you don't usually see Royal China with anything other than basic metal attachments, so I thought that was just neat. Louis glass pitcher, the silver deposit ice bucket, I thought they had a nice look together. We have some Empoli here. Even the bottles without stoppers are selling in the $50 to $80 range, and with stoppers, boy, they're going crazy now. The blue one there could be as much as $250 with the stopper. I like this piece though as well. This is also Empoli and it's case glass, yellow with the green handle. That's going to price in the $100 to $120 range. This piece is Chalet of Canada, another swung vase style. And there is the Chalet Made in Canada label on that. Pilgrim Glass made this threaded piece out of the late 80s, early 90s, which I think is quite attractive. And then the candle here is Oriflores. Some more fun stuff on this side of the space. We have this really cool Shell TV lamp, and it has a drip glaze very similar to this brush pottery piece, which is a flower frog. Always like the golf ball lighters, and of course you can't go wrong with pixies these days. A great piece of Franciscan El Patio. This is the ruby artware. It was only done in 1935 and 36, and it's a very scarce color. And that's why this piece is about $75, and it's a different style as opposed to their usual $35 teapots.
And you can introduce me, George.
Yes.
I would love to. Well, this is my friend Kat, who is doing the booth with me. I'm very excited to have her with me, and she's having fun and selling stuff and helping me, and it's just been great. And then my friend Heather is here with she is a bobbin lace maker, and look what she found, a bunch of antique bobbins. These are really cool. Tell me about them.
These are from England. All of the little spangles are to hold the bobbin down. In England, they didn't have very much wood, so the bobbin is actually a very small piece of wood, and it's turned on a lathe.
Yeah.
And the spangles hold the weight of the bobbin down. Anything that holds a thread is a bobbin.
Oh, interesting. So that's the reason for the beading, or the spangles, as you call them, is to counterweight.
Yes.
Very interesting.
And
I've known you a long time, and I've seen you do this, and I did not realize that.
Mm-hmm. And these are absolutely beautiful.
Oh my gosh, and the prices are awfully good.
And then the lace maker friends give each other bobbins. So some of these are going to be presents to my friends.
Oh, how cool. Oh, that's really, really neat. And what era do you think these are?
These look like the 1900s.
Yeah, early mid-1900s.
I've never seen them anywhere ever.
They're so cool. Since then, I've gotten quite a bit of Holt Howard and related lines from Japan. I only brought out a handful that I had time to research for this show, but I will have more, and I'm going to research more and have them out. The coin kitty, he is very hard to find, and why is that? Because he's got a spring head and he rolls around, and because of that they got knocked down and broken a whole lot. So it's one of the harder to find. I started off with a lot more promotional cars, but a lot of them sold. I still have some Thunderbirds, which I think are really cool. And the Olds Toronado, this one's actually kind of hard to find, and it's in really nice shape. And you can see it says Toronado by Oldsmobile. This was the first front-wheel drive car, and even the friction they have on the front-wheel drive, so very true. And then this is a radio made to look like a Cadillac. These were from Hong Kong in the 60s, and they sell for about $30 to $35. One of the Thunderbirds is also a radio. I think it's the silver one. Yes, there you go. And this was because Philco, the company that did all the radio stuff for Ford, it's part of Ford, it's showing this model for radio service under 90-day warranty. So you had a little Philco radio in the promotional car. I always thought that was a neat design. More happy little creatures, Salt and Peppers, a bunch of walkers including Smurfs and Holiday.
Had to get that one.
Laissez-faire, yes.
And then
Oh, wow, you got a big collection. Ooh, Merry Christmas. That's a neat one.
Yeah. And we
This is so cool. You were telling me about this. So this is,
signed by Ezra Mika.
he'd have been an old man by then. He was one of the big pioneers. Do you mind me asking what something like that with his signature costs? Because,
100.
yeah, 100, that seems very reasonable for a very famed Northwest pioneer. That is so cool. I brought a little bit of Fenton. We sold the orange main vase earlier from the 1960s. But I just found this gal. This is a Seminole doll, but this is way bigger than I usually see. And it has the tag from about the 1950s saying that it was made by them and sold in Hollywood, Florida, which is where the trading posts were. I also like it because it talks about it's made of palmetto fiber. And yes, they do have to fight the snakes to get to it. Very cute handmade piece, and I figure she's probably worth $45. I got the Ree Munoz recently, and then this piece is really interesting because this is English. It is slag glass, it is Victorian, and it's purple. And you don't see that very often. Schneider made some, but I think some other companies did as well. You can tell it's old. The ebonized handle is worn from use. It's a really neat piece. It should be worth about $100 these days. There was a time this would have been worth twice that. So I think slag glass is definitely an interesting area to collect for new collectors because the prices are reasonable again, and you can find some really cool pieces. My friend Kat is helping me, and she brought some really cute stuff too. She's got the red crusher. She brought a bunch of kitchen. It's sold really well. We're kind of getting picked through. She's got this great flamingo lamp, which if it doesn't sell, I might take to Florida, and a nice Roseville piece in the peony pattern. The paint by number is mine, as is the cabinet made of mesquite and a lot of this Native American and Western and rooster and all this. I did just sell the Francoma wagon wheel mini pitcher. Kat brought the cool drum here and the Dixie Queen. In fact, she brought a bunch of tins and has sold them fairly well. This Hershey's is hard to find in the large size. And then she's got this. This is really cool. This is California Ware Tudor Potteries of Los Angeles. Somehow this ended up at the Metlocks factory, and her mother ended up buying this when she was a kid. When they went to Metlocks, they would actually go to the factory and buy when that was still open. And so this Tudor Potteries ware is great with the original label. I estimate the value of that around 100. That's going to be 1930s. And she's got the uranium glass syrup with the flip top. That's a harder piece to find. It's so cool having old friends and new come to see me at these antique shows. I'm really looking forward to this July's, and these two took care of my booth so I could shop. This fellow's got a lot of fun advertising, and boy, hello there. And his prices are good because he had a lot more stuff when this show opened, I'll tell you. I mean, for the kind of things that people are buying nowadays, I just saw this same display for over $100 in a store. He's got 45 on it. I'm not surprised that he has sold quite a lot here. St. Joseph aspirin, I mean, he's got the right idea because he's buying the right things for today's market, but he's pricing them excessively, and that really does matter. Now, these, on the other hand, should be expensive because any of these old stop signs with the reflectors in them, especially if they are the old Auto Club of Southern California, which became AAA, they were the ones going around putting up stop signs and road signs back in the day before the municipalities really got on it. That was actually their function, was to get the municipalities to get on it. So that's why these are priced at $500. But they are very cool. This gum gives you a horoscope reading for 25 cents or $175. And then this is really fun. The Swami Knows All. It's for your napkin holders. This is really cool in the menu. And then you would put a quarter in and you get a note from the Swami who would answer your yes or no questions. That's really fun, and there can't be many of those left. $2.99 on that. I think this is also really fun. The Alert friction-free tank ball and guide. So you could see how it would actually work in your toilet. About 1960, I would say. That's a really fun piece. You can put that on your toilet. My neighbor Beth has really neat stuff, and it's bohemian, but it's based on really, really old stuff. A lot of true Victorian and earlier pieces. These hand-painted chairs have a great look with the tooled leather bases. These appear to be something that would be probably right around 1890. There's a set of 4 of them. round metal table. That's a fun look. It could stand being repainted, but it's only $55. She's also got this really fun umbrella in here, an old screen, but I just like the way she puts things together. You know, the marionettes, the feather wreath. She just has some really unusual things, and they definitely make a statement. She also has a bunch of these rinconada animals, and I love rinconada, and wow, what a great collection she has. She has pieces I haven't seen before. I think the ostrich is really fun. You can see the mark on the bottom. That's what you're looking for. Rinconada came from Uruguay, and they are still in business, but a lot of these are discontinued. They've been making for over 50 years now. So we have what I think is a German Shepherd, a llama, a camel, and the otter. And she has prices in the 30 range. For some of the discontinued and more unusual pieces, they are selling in that price range now. So definitely something to look for. This dealer deals in paper ephemera. It's really great to have specialists who have some really great depth in certain types of collectibles here. This is great folio for the Columbia River Highway, which is a very famous tourist attraction in Oregon when it was built in the 19-teens and 20s, because it went to places like Multnomah Falls. This dealer has been doing this for quite a while, and he's really, really good at what he does. It's Fair Look Antiques. Michael Fairley is his name. I'll give you this information. If you're ever in Seattle, he's definitely worth checking out because he's got a ton of other paper ephemera as well. This is interesting because this is from Morganfield, Kentucky, and they show the recreation hall for this camp, and this was the Civilian Conservation Corps, so this is not military. This is before the Second World War. These were the people who were working for the Civilian Conservation Corps. It was a way to stimulate jobs in the 1930s. And then every kind of postcard you could possibly imagine. We'll take a quick look at Florida just because that's a place I look for things. I guess he's got them filed to the back. They have these nice markers so you can figure out where you left off if you're looking and you get distracted. Porpoise caught on the Florida coast. A lot of people loved copper in the 1910s era. It was popularized in part by Roycroft Studios, who were doing hand-hammered copper because they believed in craftsmanship and not mass production. But a lot of other copper companies got involved as well. Coppercraft Guild of San Francisco did the bookends in the back. All of this Art Nouveau era copper is very collectible. You see a lot in desk sets. I believe these pieces are probably by the Heinz Company with the silver overlay. The desk set is $525, the bookends are $375. You will occasionally see pieces of this slip through because people don't necessarily know the mark, so it's a good area to learn. This is a beautiful pattern called Fostoria Versailles. Hello, how are you?
Good. How about you?
Good.
Versailles.
I just always have loved this color, and I like to show it when I do videos because a lot of the younger people who do not know elegant depression glass are really attracted to this color, and I'm seeing that it's starting to sell to those folks, which is great because we've all known about it for years. I like this pattern, the cashmere as well, but this azure blue is not something that we really see in modern glass, and so if you like this color, you need to collect 1930s elegant glass like this. Wow, the Rose City Vintage Market. It is just so much fun. I'm so excited to be doing it again. Here's all the details. Come on out. This is 2023, fresh as can be. Got tons of new stuff. Can't wait for you to see it. So if you're in anywhere near Portland or can pack your bags like I am and get there, well, come on out. Well, here we are. It's nighttime at Expo. The show is over. I am headed to pack up. It was a wonderful show. I just love seeing the people here, people I've seen over the past 20-some years at shows, and people that I just met today for the first time. I had viewers come from age 18 to 80 who are all really into it and excited to go to a show for the first time, so we really had a great time. It was so great to show all of this to you. I wish I could show you more. It's so busy. I really only got a brief time to go around. There was so much more than you got to see. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, check out this one.
Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.